Marketplaces are just not only in the increasing trend, but like they should be considered as a new marketing channel.
44% of all transactions in Germany are done on marketplaces, for example, which constitutes a very important chunk of e-commerce.
Here in Germany, 8 out of the 10 customers, they use the marketplaces.
Yeah.
So this is something that we can't ignore.
Do these simple tweaks and you will win customers. It's that simple.
Yes, it is.
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the EGN Podcast. I'm your host, Efe von Thenen. In today's episode, we're focusing on the vital role of marketplaces in the German e-commerce landscape. Joining us today is Miroslava Biresova from Kaufland Global Marketplace, an e-commerce expert who will share valuable insights on why marketplaces are essential for today's retailers. In this episode, we'll explore the advantages of selling on marketplaces, how to choose the right platform, and the critical success factors and tips that can help sellers thrive. Additionally, we'll shine a spotlight on the Central and Eastern European market, discussing its growth potential and opportunities for expansion. Let's dive in. Mirka, welcome to the show. Super nice to have you here. And tell us about yourself. I'm very excited to get to know you.
Thank you very much. And I've been working with my own e-shops in Czechia, Slovakia, and Germany. So I've been managing from the really literally e-commerce shop site. Then I've changed this position and I've been working for Ladenzeile. You might know that, like the price comparison that belonged at that time to Idealo and Axel Springer.
Yeah.
And that I changed to marketplaces. So actually, to summarize that, I've seen all three sides, like the managing of the e-commerce shops, the managing with the price comparisons and the marketplace, and all three sides just gave me a very nice overview how just e-commerce behaves.
Yeah, and that's so many years of experience that you bring from those three different groups of e-commerce. Super excited to have your insights in the show today. Maybe we can just get started with before we move on to Kaufland, of course, just in general, talking about the last couple of years and your experience working with marketplace business. Maybe tell us a little bit about how you see marketplaces in general. How you see the evolution of marketplaces throughout the time that you've been involved in e-commerce and where we are right now today.
Actually, we could see the very strongly increasing trend towards the marketplaces the last years. When we, for example, compare the e-commerce results from the last 2-3 years, we could see that the Germany, for example, but not only Germany, the whole Europe was under the pressure. I mean, the e-commerce industry.
Yeah.
But when we are just going to look at the marketplaces, they were stable, or even some of them, they grew up. Yeah. So the reasons behind, there are many, why just the customers, they are shifting their attention from the purely e-commerce shops to the marketplaces. Yeah. But this is actually a very strong trend. And not only in Europe, but we could see that in the US, we could see that in the Asian countries. So this is actually the trend. And I'm very glad that I'm part of that trend and we can speak about it.
Yeah, that's super interesting. And as a matter of fact, I've read that 44% of all transactions in Germany are done on marketplaces, for example, which constitutes a very important chunk of e-commerce. You mentioned that marketplaces are becoming more and more important, and it's a quite stable area of e-commerce. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more why you think that.
Actually, we could see that the customers, they let's speak about the customers at first, because
Okay.
this is the main reason why just the marketplaces are strengthen their positions.
Yeah.
And the customers actually like very safety and secure environment. And this is something that marketplaces offer at a very high level.
Yeah.
Then the customers like very wide range of the product portfolio for a very good price with a very good availability. Again, the marketplaces usually offer like million of the products.
Yeah.
So this is actually matching exactly the customer expectations.
Yeah.
A very large brand awareness. When you would like to buy, for example, the product, what would be the first brand that you might have in your head? This is something that like it's very automatic for the customers.
Yeah.
And we could see even, for example, here in Germany, 8 out of the 10 customers, they use the marketplaces.
Yeah.
So this is something that we can't ignore. And I strongly...
It's massive.
Yeah. And I strongly believe that the marketplaces are just not only in the increasing trend, but like they should be considered as a new marketing channel, not as a competitor to somebody against somebody else, but like really the new marketing channel that everybody, every e-commerce shop, every brand should be using.
We will move on to Kaufland in a bit because I think it has a very unique positioning, and you'll tell us all about it. But when you look at the retail space in Germany, for example, we've seen Karstadt and many other companies struggling that have these huge department stores, for example. I mean, like in the past, when we didn't have these massive marketplaces like Amazon and everything, people would typically go to the retail store of like these department stores and just like look for different items. Like it had lots of choice, lots of different brands combined in one marketplace on site, so to speak. But we see that shifting pretty much, where retail stores generating less revenue. Some of the revenue and the purchases are shifting to pure online or omni-channel players. So, and that shift is quite interesting in my opinion. And you're in the middle of it. So how do you see that?
Actually, I'm so glad that we are actually in the middle, because you know that we as a Kaufland, we have the very strong retail. Maybe you might know that. Not sure, but like, for example, we belong to the Schwarz Group, and the Schwarz Group is the strongest, the largest retailer in Europe, first strongest in the world. So it's really massive. And we could see that the customers, they prefer from time to time just like more online, more offline. But like for us, it's very important just like to offer like the outstanding experience in both areas, and just like, you know, to gain the advantage from both actually, because this is not very common situation that you have very strong and large marketplace with a very strong retail chain. That actually, that's our case.
Yeah, and Schwarz Group, as far as I know, they have some of the discounters, they have some of the big stores. They have a large spectrum of retailers that they serve. Yeah,
Schwarz Group owns, for example, Lidl, Kaufland, PreZero. So like Schwarz Group, like Dienstleistung, and so many like wide range of the not only the services but like the retail stores.
Yeah. But you didn't always have the name Kaufland. I think this exists since 2021 or so, right?
Yes, indeed, from the April 2021. But like we started as a Hitmeister in 2007. So that means we are not the child, we are teenager already. Like getting
You're not that new?
Not that new, indeed. So we have already some time behind, but we renamed the Hitmeister, meanwhile like Real Digital, because we belong to Real Digital, to the Kaufland DE. And then like 1 year later, we started to belong to Schwarz Group. We already mentioned that. And the last year, we launched first two international countries, other international countries, not counting the Germany, the Czechia and Slovakia. And this year, literally couple of days ago, like Austria and Poland. So like actually we operate in 5 countries.
Yeah, that's great. And I also took a look at some of the growth numbers through my databases, and just I see that in comparison to Otto, in comparison to some other marketplaces in Germany, you're growing at a much larger pace. So I'm super excited to know, find out about the unique positioning of Kaufland, what makes Kaufland super attractive for merchants, and what's your secret? So why is your positioning so special in the German market, and also in these new markets that you're expanding to?
I mean,
Because in Poland, we have Allegro, for example, where I think, if I'm not mistaken, almost 90% of the customers go to Allegro in Poland. It's a very, very strong marketplace. In Germany, you have also other competitors like among Auto, eBay, and Amazon, and others. So what makes you so special?
I think the unique point is that we have the combination of the retail stores and marketplace online stores. So that means that, like, because we know some large marketplaces here in Germany, not only here in Germany, the whole Europe. They are very active only purely in online sector. We know the large retailers, they're very, very like active in the retail sector offline, but like we are the combination that you can use actually like the customer base from the retail and just like give them very nice and extending experience in the online business and vice versa. For example, we have the Kaufland card, which is used in with millions usage. I mean, like the customers. And for example, like the customers are collecting points in the retail stores and just like buying the things
The loyalty
online.
card.
Yeah, the loyalty card, the online marketplace, and vice versa. So that means like we are really like connecting both worlds, and this is very unique.
Yeah.
What I consider as like the other unique point is that we really try to be personal. You can meet us at many events, really just like to get the relationship, deepen the relationship. Do you have an issue? Okay, just meet us at the events and just like create the connection, and we will help you. We are preparing
like the Kaufland e-commerce day and stuff like this.
Yes, and you can see that we are really in many events. You could see us everywhere, literally in not only in Germany, but like in Central European countries, in Netherlands, Belgium, like literally everywhere. So like you can help yourself as well, just like with this personal approach, and we strongly believe in that. You can just like call us when you have any issue via customer or seller support without any, chatbot or something like that. Like you can't just like reach the point.
Mirka, I can't help but mention, by the way, 19th and 20th of February, people can meet you on site at our expo. So you're a longtime partner of ours, and very nice to have you. And it's a great chance for since we have free entry, any retailer can come and meet you and talk to you about their challenges and whatever they want to discuss with you. So I want to mention that.
Thank you very much. Looking forward. And we might have the masterclass there.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, well.
I think you held the masterclass last time, didn't you?
Yes, I had. We spoke about some practical tips and tricks. We would like to bring some new tips and tricks as well, just like really like speaking about that, what you can do literally and increase your like turnover, not only on marketplaces, I mean the Kaufland, but like in general, because like those tips and tricks you can really like associate to the other platforms and help yourself.
I think that's really one of the key points here, because just before we were discussing it a little bit over coffee, I think it's a no-brainer for many merchants to be on a marketplace, right? So I think you don't need to talk about it so much that, hey, you need to be on marketplaces, because you mentioned 8 out of 10 customers are shopping on marketplaces. So that's enough. But for many merchants, it's the optimization game. Like really taking it to the next level, making the most out of their energy that's spent on the marketplace.
That's true, and now the knowledge plays the biggest role. I need to say, I see that let's speak about the most common mistakes actually, because this is usually that.
I love that. Yeah.
Actually,
do you have a top 5? Most common top 3?
Let's speak about top 30, but like we don't have
30. Okay.
we don't have so much time. Yeah. But anyway, for example, I could see that like, for example, the product data not usually needs to have the quality. You are operating in an online business. You need to put a good quality of the information. That means like, for example, we did the internal research, and that means like we found out that like the highest sales conversion rate is when you have from 6 to up to 10 pictures. Everything what was below was insufficient. Everything what was above, it didn't like bring such a like higher difference in the results. For example, we found out as well that like the title needs to be between 50 and 80 characters.
Yeah.
The description between 3,000 up to 5,000. This is something that like many sellers or vendors, they underestimate. And they're just like, relying, okay, come on, I have some product data, and just like on the top, I found out that like many of them, they don't have any keywords, relevant keywords, or just generic keywords, like I'm preparing the keywords for a 5,000 product in one category, and this is everything that I can offer. This is the most common mistake. They forgot, for example, here in Germany, we have many regions, and you have the same naming for that. Actually, like for the same product, the different names. For example, in the common word for a Christmas baum. I like it because like it's coming to the season. In Bavaria, it's Christbaum. In Cologne, it's Tannenbaum. And in Berlin, it's Weihnachtsbaum. And you would need to use all those synonyms. But usually they forget to use that.
Wow.
And not only because...
It's actually so simple, but...
It is. But like this is something that you should definitely work with. For example, are you expanding to Austria? Use the Austrian common expressions, not just
do these simple tweaks and you will win customers. It's that simple.
Yes, it is. And for example, you should use the paid marketing as well. For example, like with us, it's not necessary to use it just to be successful. But I've seen on the concrete examples, when you just like use that, you had more levels. Like the results were better, like in the more levels. So that means it's really useful. And when you optimize that, just like like putting like the first like shot and then just like waiting for something, you need to optimize that. You can really reach the good visibility and the good sales. So like the paid marketing options, for example, the like sponsored SEA, products advertisement, brands advertisement, etc. I think every marketplace has very similar options. Just do use it.
Totally. And in a way, a marketplace is a perfect place to advertise and do your marketing as well, because it's you don't have to build the infrastructure yourself. You don't have to invest in an IT person. You can just pretty much use the existing infrastructure for all kinds of tools that are available to you.
Yeah, you have true. And for example, it's needed just like to have a look at the ease of the marketplace as well. Because some marketplaces are more complex, some are more easier. For example, when you're just starting, let's speak about you are just like the seller, or like maybe somebody listen us and would like to start with marketplaces. And I would definitely consider just like the complexity of the marketplace, because when the marketplace is too complex, you can't orient in these optimizations so well. So like the complexity is important.
So your Kaufland is a very simple to use marketplace?
Yes, indeed. We have all-in-one solution. So that means you can register only once and use everything, literally everything managed only in one platform. Every country, if you would like to expand into the more countries, it's very easy.
You even provide fulfillment, like similar to the likes of Amazon.
Yes, we call that fulfillment by Kaufland, FBK. Let's speak about
not FBA, but FBK. I like that.
Let's speak about that shortcut as well. Let's use it. So we actually brought this shipping solution to our sellers as well, because we would like to make their hands free. Just like to shift something that's like the most time consuming in the whole e-commerce path to us, and then like the sellers, they can just like use that time with the optimizations and bring like the additional GMV and turnover.
For many merchants, cross-border shipping can be quite complicated also.
It is, especially in the other countries. We spoke about that like before, that like I'm coming from the Central European countries, from Slovakia.
Very nice.
And and the shipment in general is more complex as here in Germany. So like we can see some differences. And when, for example, the sellers from Western European countries, they are not taking that into consideration. They can just burn money, or they can go with us or with marketplaces, and it's much more easier.
So guide me through the step by step. So you start on Kaufland with an account as a merchant, and then within that account, you can also manage your other operations in other countries as well.
Yes, indeed,
Yeah.
it's very easy. So that means only one registration is already mentioned, and
Yeah.
you will be activated, and then you will just like choose with one simple drop-down menu the country,
Yeah.
and then it will open the landing page with the onboarding tasks.
Yeah.
And this is like the game.
So
You just
like
need to fulfill every task, and
like
just
a
like it.
checkbox.
Indeed, it will
Yeah.
be the check and then change colors. So
Yeah.
that means like it's just like some kind of like the gamification as
Yeah.
well. And then like when you fulfill everything, actually it's between 5 and 7 steps depending on the country, because like every country might have the different rules, legal rules especially. But we did the job instead of our sellers, because like we found out what exactly they need. They don't need to do any additional research, and when you will fulfill that, just like click on activation, and this is everything. So you can operate only in one system, manage everything in one system, send everything from your own warehouse or from our warehouse, and this could be very easy when the sellers take it easy.
Mirka, I was also looking at the allocation of first-party, the Kaufland products themselves, and also the third-party from the sellers, and the allocation of like the share of third-party marketplace products is increasing the year on year. That looks quite promising. So it seems like merchants feel comfortable. Maybe you can name us a couple of examples of product categories that perform super well. I mean, like you can pretty much find anything on Kaufland, right? So, but as far as I know, probably it's a place to go for electronics, for do it yourself, for fashion, for furniture, and so on and so forth. But what's like, do you have top fives that you can mention? Hey, those are the top categories that we have. Those are the top products that perform super well.
Sure, we do have. But like speaking about the Kaufland DE, we have over 45 million products. So that means like you can literally find everything. But speaking about the top categories, for example, in Germany, we have the electronics. Now we are just like going into the season where the electronics is the most strongest. But besides the electronics, we have furniture, garden and DIY. But not only, because like then like on the third, fourth and fifth place, we have the sport equipment and sport. And the kitchen, and depending on the season, this is changing. For example, when we can see that, like, you know, like it's end of the summer, and people are not doing sport anymore, so like they are just like starting to cooking, and like this category is increasing. So
and you can see that in real
time.
Yes,
it's so funny actually, like for me as well. But speaking about like the top, not only the categories but the products. For example, we could see that like over the time, the customer needs they were changing. And for example, during the COVID time, we could see, of course, the largest demand on the COVID masks. Then like this ended at some point, and we could see a very strong shift to the electronic generators. And then, like, for example, right now, like it's very trendy stand-up paddleboards. So if you are selling the stand-up paddleboards, come on, you would need to be on marketplaces. And what's very popular, for example, is solar energy, solar panels, balcony solar panels. This is like really like going with the trend.
Yeah, absolutely. I see that everywhere. It's just with global warming, I think it's going to get hotter and hotter, even in the north where we're speaking. So that seems to be I can just relate to it as a customer. There are also marketplaces that heavily focus on the idea of social commerce marketplaces, such as TikTok with their TikTok shop, and we have other Asian companies, especially from China, that focus on a completely different customer journey that we're not really used to in the West, which is disrupting. When you look at the app stores, for example, today, you'll see Temu being the #1 downloaded app, and they're generating lots of GMV over the platform, which I think the main difference is like search-based with the journey we're used to in the West is like searching for a product, whereas what I typically see from Temu, Shein, and even like TikTok, entertainment, gamification, and just a whole different experience of discovery. You know what I mean? How do you see that development? Because I think it has an impact on virtually all marketplaces.
You're true. First point that I would like to mention, we shouldn't underestimate that, because since we could see like this strategy not only in the e-commerce area, but like we can see that like in the car industry area and in many other areas, that like there are some certain strategies that like the Asian companies would like to just like come to the European Union market and just like to play the dominance. So we shouldn't underestimate it, but like of course we should like deal with this situation in the future and really take some serious strategies. What's just like the main difference between us and the newcomers, like let's speak about that.
Okay.
And that's the first point. A second point, yes, they have a big influence. We can see that not only like just like how often the app is downloaded, but like we can see like how many actually visits are coming like to the landing pages from each country. And for example, Germany, I think I've checked that like 1 month ago, it was like the second country after the US. I mean like the for example, Temu.com. So
definitely.
So this is the serial thing. Of course, we need to take into consideration they have the other strategy. So like, you know, entertainment and gaming strategy is something that's pretty much new. And we in like European Union or the European area, we didn't use that, you know, because we have only just like the pure like shopping sector. This is like, you know, marketplace is the shopping like shops like itself. So this is something like really focus on like the reason you are just like would like to buy something. Okay, go to the shopping areas.
You kind of know what you want to get.
But my opinion is as well that like we need to take into consideration like this is the other culture coming like to us, so we are different ones. So maybe this would be playing a big role for like teenagers, for the young people that are like, you know, entertaining so much. But I'm pretty much skeptical for like the older audience, because that means like they don't have so much time just like to spend with those platforms hours and hours. I've been in one presentation about these Asian marketplaces, and they really like trying to engage for the hours the audience. And this is something actually like it's working for the like young audience pretty much well. But I'm pretty much skeptical for the older. But we shouldn't underestimate it, definitely, because just the prices and like the conditions behind that, like in those marketplaces, are actually not competitive. We are not competitive because like they are too low, just like that. We shouldn't consider that.
I'm 38 years old at the time of this recording. Okay, and being I just realized I'm among the older persons shopping on. But I did try buying something from Temu, right? So I went on the platform. For me, it's just like I have the suspicion. I don't want to make a strong statement here, but it's like, you know, in IT there's something called a dark pattern. So manipulations of like, you don't necessarily go on this platform. Even the claim, shop like a billionaire, is like super smart actually, because it's like, hey, you can get much more bang for the buck, so to speak. And then you go on there and you don't have a rough estimation how much you want to spend, because you think it's like very cheap, and then you end up spending quite a bit of money because everything's so cheap, and you keep going. It's like I ask myself, I'm definitely like struggling on this platform because for me it's too much, like pop-ups everywhere and stuff like this. But I can just totally imagine that the younger audience is super comfortable with it.
Yeah, I agree with you. But like we should take into consideration not only the GMV that you spend already like in like Asian marketplaces, but like the missing GMV that you won't spend in European marketplace or like e-commerce shops. This is actually like this missing turnover is like even way more important, like that you already spent. So this is like the next point as well. But I believe in the quality of the like our e-commerce shops, the quality of our like marketplaces, I mean the European, and I do believe as well like in the security like point of view, that the people at some point, at some age, they realize that like I don't want to just like share my data on the with the platforms where I don't know where my data will end up. For example, we in the European Union, and we know that because we have very strict rules. What we are doing with the data, how we are just like storing with the data, and this is very important. And unfortunately, not all like coming Asian marketplaces, they really literally like hold the rules exactly as we do. So this is the next point that I really believe that like the customers will realize at some point, and like just don't serve and buy like from every marketplace that they will hear.
In German, there's even a saying, wer billig kauft, kauft zweimal. Like the one that buys cheap buys 2 times, and something like that. It's I think there are a lot of cultural differences as well between, say, the Chinese market and the German market, because like the consumer does look at, especially this is probably the reason we have much more of a chunk of high margin premium brands that sell successfully to their customers, because people are willing to still pay for the quality. I want to go back to Kaufland for a second, because I think talking about cultural differences, I think you're in a perfect position to also make a statement on the cultural differences between your markets. So if I'm a seller on Kaufland, and let's say you expanded to Poland and Austria, and I want to tap into those markets with you, how do I deal with the cultural nuances, because the consumer behavior is totally different? How do I localize for these markets?
Actually, when you will go, for example, with us or Kaufland Global Marketplace, you don't need to deal with that, because we deal with that. So that means like we prepared everything. We just like did the research. I mean, in the legal, with the legal rules like valid in those countries. Like we have the local managers, like knowing that market. So you don't need to employ, for example, the local marketing manager, even the local marketing manager for each relevant marketing channel. So that means like this is everything that we do. So it's very easy when you as a seller or a vendor would like to expand with us. It might be more difficult when you would like to expand on your own, with your own landing page. So that means you would need to create one, you would need to maintain that, you would need to invest the money, the time, and then you would need to keep the rules in those countries. And this is something like we spoke about the cultures, and they are different. We can see the different behavior between the German customers and the Central European customers. So this is something that we need to take into consideration.
Do you have some examples? Like what are the top differences in your opinion?
For example, very unique is that very often in CEE countries, like Central European countries, you will pay...
For the audience, which countries are those? Maybe you
that means Czechia, Slovakia, Poland, and Hungary. Austria sometimes is counted as well. So that means...
Although in other cases, Austria is part of the DACH region.
Yes, but it depends on the view that you would like to have. But like coming to those, like the largest differences, for example, do you know cash on delivery? So this is the most common payment actually in Europe, in CEE countries, even though they are very digitalized. The digital online shopping is more advanced, as here, for example, in Germany, they use like the Bitcoin payments and the other like e-wallet payments, etc. But the cash on delivery is like based on the like cultural differences, very strong in the people, especially they buy with this payment of with the shops or from the shops they don't know, they don't trust them. So like there is the matter of the trust, and you don't need to pay like, for example, cash literally by the with the delivery, but like, for example, with card, just like it's naming like cash on delivery. This is very like the big difference. And then like with the shipping as well. For example, here in Germany, you have the phone number, you know, like under the GDPR, so you can't use that like with the shipping. In the CEE countries, you need the phone number for the calling customers before each shipping, so delivering. So that means that they expect that, but then like actually they don't like the actual like shipping. So that means like the pickup deliveries like the most used based on that, like because there are like some issues with the delivery. So like you will need to consider that as well. In Germany, the pickup boxes are just like increasing, and this is something that we don't need to think about that so much. But like in Czechia and Slovakia, Poland, when you're just going to look at the pickup boxes, you have the thousands and thousands in the countries, and the countries are smaller than Germany.
We had Deutsche Bahn Smart City that does such lockers for the train stations in the podcast. So that was interesting that's growing in Germany. But in other countries, it's been a thing for much longer.
Actually, it is longer now.
But
there are many differences. And for example, like the difference in the customer behavior, they are very price sensitive. For example, here in Germany, you have the price sensitiveness as well, but you know, like when the product is more expensive, you usually like search more about that product in many ways. But CEE customers, they search definitely, for example, in more price comparisons. You need to be there. If you are like missing that, like you are missing the visibility, you are missing like the very important the way where you are just like building the trust. Because like they are collecting the reviews, product reviews, seller reviews, shop reviews. So definitely like the customers, they are checking that. So like, and they are checking that more, and they are checking price more. So like it's more difficult, but that's the good news. When you are just, for example, coming with those marketplaces as we are, we know that. We know how we should behave in order to just like go through the hurdles, and we can help all sellers just like to get and reach that country much more easier.
Mirka, I realize I didn't ask you one of the most important questions. Is for those of us that are not so familiar with Kaufland, maybe you can also mention the basic numbers. So like, how many stores do you have? And I know the answer, but I won't say it. How many stores do you have? Because unlike the many pure player marketplaces out there, such as Amazon, you have physical spaces, so where the products are offered, and so you're an omni-channel player. So I'm curious about that, and also how many merchants or sellers are on the platform, and what's the potential of, if I'm a seller tapping into your marketplace, what's the potential for me? How many customers can I theoretically reach?
Coming to the data, we operate in 5 countries. That means Germany, Czechia, Slovakia, Poland, and Austria. We recently added 2 new countries. Sellers can reach up to 81 million customers, our base that we have. We have, like, speaking about the retail chain as a Kaufland, we have 1,550 physical stores, a very strong chain. Speaking about the brand awareness, for example, here in Germany, we have 97% of the brand awareness. In Poland, Czechia, and Slovakia, 99%. So when I will say that everybody knows Kaufland, this is literally true. Even little babies, they know Kaufland. And if they didn't, because that's the one person, they will. very soonish. So coming back to the data, we have over 11,000 sellers. And this is a good point, because when you will compare the other marketplaces, you might have different potential, but when you are just like counting with some competitors, competitor level, competitor prices, etc., just coming to this marketplace, the best fit is when the marketplace is large enough with a large awareness, but the competitiveness is not such a large as with the other marketplaces. I can't name that, but what I think about, because some marketplaces, for example, here in Germany, they have over 2 million active sellers, and this is the difference.
So it might be a sweet spot for some resale, for some sellers.
Yeah,
right?
definitely. And coming back to the numbers again, we have over 45 million products. For example, in Kaufland DE. In more than 6,400 categories. So literally we have everything. So if the sellers would like to just cooperate with us, we definitely will find the category they can just like be active in.
And I think one thing is also operating on these marketplaces, the fees, transaction fees, and all these things that you have to pay attention to as a merchant. Can you maybe describe how you're better than the other options in terms of transparency, in terms of the fees that you provide? So maybe you can give us some insights.
You hit a very important question, because this is the game changer for some sellers as well. I think very important is we are very transparent. So that means, of course, every seller just knows the commission level for that category, because we have, of course, more categories, as I already mentioned, over 6,400. And we have more levels, commission levels, but those commission levels are the same for each country.
Okay.
Poland has right now some, I would say, like special period, so it's lower than the other countries, but like it always will be the same. So that means you can calculate your pricing much more easier for all countries. That's the first point. And for example, just like naming some categories, the electronics is 7%, etc. But like we have the list like listed like in our landing page about the commissions. Coming like to the other fees, actually we have only monthly fee, which is like the same but only one for all countries. So that means you are just like operating in one country, one monthly fee. 5 countries, one monthly fee. So that's fine. So just like let's be in all countries, just like rationalize that. So
it actually makes more sense to approach multiple markets.
And this is everything. So we don't have any hidden fees, anything behind. So you have everything. You have automatic translation. For example, you would like to expand. This is the most common question of the sellers. How am I just going to do that with the data? So you have included automatic translation in the monthly fee as well. For example, from the German to Polish to Slovak or Czech language. So
it's a massive rat's tail that when you think about it, like you don't think about it at the very beginning when you're smaller, but then later when the stickiness is there, you're already in the marketplace and you want to use it to expand, then it's becoming a problem.
Yes, indeed. And for example, you can use the automatic translation of the messages as well. So that means you will just like answer in the German language to the customers in Czechia, and it will be translated automatically. So this is something that like we integrated into our system, just like to be easy for the expansion. And this is everything like included in this like actually 2 types of fees. So we are very transparent, so you can count it literally, and you know what you can expect.
That sounds great, but I want to challenge you on something. You mentioned you're expanding to Poland, and you've expanded to Poland as of last month. It's a very special market because we even had Allegro in the podcast, and I got some firsthand insights from them. I think, if I'm not mistaken, 90% of Polish customers have shopped on Allegro, so they are actively shopping on Allegro. How do you find your unique selling point or your sweet spot in this market? It seems to be very much Allegro driven. And what makes you so confident that you can challenge them there?
Actually, I would recommend at first point just like to start with us because we have early bird offers. So like these like commissions that we spoken
You mentioned
like
they're
about
lower
yes,
there.
but like we don't have like for the first 3 months like from our like launch date.
Yeah.
So this is a way easier for the sellers. But like coming back like to your question, we are very nice combination of the retailer as a retailer and as a marketplace. So that means like as I already mentioned before, like 99% of Polish people, they know Kaufland.
Yeah.
So we have very strong and large brand awareness. And of course, this might take time. We know about Allegro. I think like we know about like all marketplaces, they have the relevance in European Union because like we watch the market. This is like very like common thing.
Would be surprising if you didn't.
Yeah, actually. Yeah, you're true. So that means like I really like believe in this unique point, like the combination of the retail chain and online business and just like the very nice connection between, because like you already have the customers. And those customers have the brand awareness of actually like that, like accepting this brand. So this is something that like we would like to just use for our marketplace, increase the relevance as well. And we know that like you already mentioned some marketplaces, so they are important, they have the relevance, but like they aren't only one. And especially in Poland, we could see some examples. So like
Mirka, I love practical examples. So we've talked about expansion into several countries using your marketplace. Can you tell us an example, give us an example of a brand that successfully used the platform, used the marketplace, and also successfully expanded to a market or two, or maybe more?
Yeah, I have some examples. I'm operating mostly in CEE countries. So as an example, actually from Czechia. Now I need to say that the German market is something like, in the like the Czech and Slovak and Polish people, something like the high level of business, because they know that this is very complex, it's very competitive, and they have that like the natural respect from that market. But like this Czech company, they call all toys like Bambule. They expanded to Germany. They started in Czechia and they expanded in Germany, and they became very successful as well.
Wow.
So it's a very nice example that they don't need to, and nobody just like needs to, wait for something or have like such a big respect or fear from something. Just go and use it. Just go and try it. We have very nice example, vice versa. I can't name them, but like I could see many German or like the Dutch or like the other sellers that are coming to Czechia and Slovakia. And the Czech and Slovak customers, they love their products because this is something very unique. We don't have it in our area, because like we have some certain type, the product portfolio, but like the other German sellers that are bringing completely new product portfolio.
You can't name the brands, but maybe you can tell us what kind of products they brought there.
The robotic vacuum cleaners are very popular. Before us, I heard from some electronic sellers that they are just like in the declining way. And I had the fear come on, because I know that, or I knew that like in Germany, it's a very strong category, even like one of the strongest. But like since we launched like the marketplace in Czechia and Slovakia, this is the one of the top number one. So for example, robotic vacuum cleaners are very popular. Stand-up paddleboards. This was like, I wouldn't expect that like within the first month that we launched the marketplace, it would be like among like top 5. Like this little category I consider as a little category, but actually in Czechia and Slovakia I had the fear, the feeling that everybody is just like on the stand-up paddleboards on lakes, and nobody is just doing anything else, because like it was so massive that we got like so many demand on that.
Wow.
So like I would say like from both sides, from the Western countries, Western European countries coming like to the Central European countries, they can really use the potential because those markets are increasing. For example, we could see that the potential from the increase for this year is two digits in Slovakia. In
Yeah.
Poland, I think 11 or 12% for
Wow.
this year. So this is something that like when you are thinking about the expansion, like those countries, okay, they are smaller one when we compare the size, but like they have a large potential because the people customers they use to online shop, they have very like high level of the online shopping experience, and they like that. And what's very unique, they explore very well and rather like the West European customers.
Yeah.
For example, here in Germany, we can see that like the customers are very, very loyal. They know what they like and they're coming back.
Yeah.
In Central European countries, they explore the new things with
They
the
move
pleasure.
on to, yeah.
The loyalty is not as a such high level as, for example, in the Germany, but like this exploration actually helped us as well.
Yeah.
So we need to take into consideration.
That's super interesting because, I mean, in Germany especially, the acquisition cost of new customers is growing immensely. So that's you really want to hold on to your recurring customers. Like if you have a good product, especially if you're a brand, many brands are investing so much in making their existing customers happy because of the rising costs. And it seems like it's interesting to see the difference in different markets, whereas this also unlocks a new set of opportunities. So
yeah, I agree with you. And when we compare, for example, the acquisition costs in Germany, I mean the marketing costs, like average, like CPC cost per click in Germany, and for example in Central European countries, this is lower as well.
yes.
So you can reach the customers much more easier. So yeah. Or with Kaufland even more easier than you wished.
I think that's a very fantastic way to wrap up this conversation. Ending on a positive note is something that I love to do. I think there's a lot of potential. Sometimes we also talk about stagnation in markets and like not so some outlooks that are not so optimistic. But throughout this conversation, I feel like I learned a lot from you, and we've talked about the importance of optimizing your feeds, feed hygiene, and so the importance of even like being on marketplaces, 8 out of 10 customers being on marketplaces, and how the importance will continue because of the difference of cultures, because of the difference of consumer behavior. We touched upon the rising Chinese influence on the German market especially, and got your thoughts on that. So thank you so much for being part of the show and enriching our format with your thoughts.
Thank you as well.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of the EGN Podcast. If you found our discussion insightful, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channels on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Your support helps us grow and improve our content. See you next time.